You do not want to miss what I've got to show you at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. We had a snowstorm recently, and I want to show you guys. I also use that term snowstorm loosely, but do stick around. You don't want to miss it. Now, what would you do if you were stuck in the desert, ladies and gentlemen? I kind of want to know. Would you survive? What would you eat? Is there any food naturally to eat? Any juice? Water? What would you do? Would you die? Or would you find a way to survive? Hi. Let me know in the comments box down below. Good evening. Hello. Welcome to the show. Today we're going to be reacting to where extreme weather hits in the USA. Let's do this, boys and girls. Right?
I'm going to start off by talking about summers in desert areas.
The size of that
These
cactus.
are regions where you have just the highest overall temperatures. For the U.S., what's usually considered the hottest city is Yuma, Arizona, in the southwestern corner of the state along the Colorado River. In Yuma, in the summertime, there are 4 straight months, June through September, where the average high is over 100 for the month.
Please correct me if my eyes are deceiving me. Does that say 49, 50, and 51 degrees for 3 months? Does anybody live here? Do people live in this place? How?
7 months of the year.
How do they not melt?
Through October, where you have several days within that month well over 100 degrees. And so in some of these desert areas...
The entire year is hot. It doesn't go below 30 degrees Celsius. I do not tell you a lie, brothers and sisters. When it gets 14 degrees Celsius, I need to take a cold shower.
You can get summers that just last a long time. Again, it can be 6 or 7 straight months of temperatures over 100, certainly well over 90. And to go along with this, it's almost always sunny.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that a record? That's the record highs in those months. Oh, okay, I see now. Even still, a record low? Record low's -6. Is this in the same place? How the fuck can it go from -6 degrees Celsius to 31 in the same month?
There's over 100, certainly well over 90. And to go along with this, it's almost always sunny, so the sun is just always pounding down on you.
Just pounding the shit out of it.
There's often no shade to be found. If you're in the cities, you also have the urban heat island effect going on with all the concrete and asphalt. And it can be generally dangerous. Yuma is usually considered the sunniest city in the U.S. And between March and October, at least 90% of the daylight hours has sunshine. But it isn't just the number of days over 100 degrees. It's also the number of days over 110 or even 115 degrees. In humid places,
there's nobody lives there though.
Degrees every now and then in an extreme summer day, but it's really common to be well over 100, again, well over 110 quite often in a place like Yuma. And with temperatures like that, the fact that it's a dry heat doesn't matter too much because it's just so freaking hot. But one huge difference between dry and
You know what? You know when I asked you guys at the start, what would you do if you guys were stuck out in the desert? I know what to do. Death.
Summers, so in this case,
look at that, man. That is so cool.
Cools down quite a bit. So even in Yuma, in those months where the high temperature is over 100, the low temperature might be anywhere between the 50s and mid 70s.
Like, what's a cactus like?
Dry climates.
How do they grow?
Really high temperatures. It's only extreme heat for the middle of the day. It's usually about 10 a.m. to about 6 p.m. where the temperatures are really, really hot. Yeah. So for a place like Yuma,
I would simply pass away, man. I couldn't do it.
Better than Yuma. As long as you can stay inside and air conditioning during the middle of the day in the middle of the summer, it's not that bad. But if you need to be outside and or the air conditioning isn't working, well, look out. Oh my God, I'm kind of, sympathy is flowing through to the system right now for people who have to work outside, like construction workers. You know, anybody else has to work outside. Oh my God, man, that must be brutal. Holy shit. Yo, that place just looks warm, doesn't it? My God. Okay, so those are desert summers. What about hot, swampy, humid summers? And my example city for this category is going to be New Orleans. The biggest difference between a desert and swampy type summer is going to be the humidity. Yeah. In a place like New Orleans, the highest temperatures during the summer aren't going to reach the same high peaks as they are in the desert. But humidity? For example, there are only 3 months of the year, June through August, where the average high temperature in New Orleans is over 90 degrees. However, there are about 6 months of the year, May through October, where you are going to experience temperatures over 90 degrees. So what are the big differences with having a really humid summer as opposed to a hot, dry one? For all 12 months of the year, the average relative humidity in New Orleans is over 72%. I don't really know what that means. You know, when people talk about humidity, well, what the f does that even mean, though?
Like the air is like it's sweaty. Like I know it means how sweaty it is, basically how wet the air is, right? But what does that even mean? Percentage? What do you mean 70% humidity out of 100%? What's 100% mean? Everywhere's just wet? Like what is it?
And in those really hot summer months, it ranges
I don't
between
know.
76 and 80% relative humidity on average. And when the relative humidity is that high, you don't get the evaporative cooling effect that you normally would get when you have sweat evaporating. So you just stay hot and sticky and disgusting all day. But to me, the biggest difference between a dry heat and a humid heat is the nighttime temperatures. So again, for Yuma or other places in the desert, the overnight low temperature, even during the summer, is going to drop quite a bit.
But that looks cool though, doesn't it, man? Imagine all of us getting together, pitching up a couple of tents, and getting a couple of barbecues on.
Humid climate like New Orleans, the overnight low isn't going to be that much lower than the overall high of the day. And if you're familiar with southern summers, you know even during the middle of the night, it's pretty humid and sticky. And that's also evidenced by the fact that in New Orleans during the summertime, the percent possible sunshine during daylight hours is only about 60 to 65%. A lot of cloud cover, a lot of rain, a lot of storms, a lot of humidity during the summer. And the third place in the U.S. I'm going to look at for awful summers is Austin, Texas.
What?
This is where you have summertime temperatures really hot like the Southwest, although not quite as hot as Phoenix or Yuma. And you have summertime humidity that's pretty high like the Southeast.
40 degrees Celsius scares me, man.
In Austin, you have 4 straight months where the average daily high is over 91 degrees. And 7 months of the year, April through October, where you're going to experience temperatures over 90 degrees at some point during the month.
A record low in July and August is 14 degrees Celsius. That's insane. That's insane. That's our summer, you know. That is literally our summer. Just saying. Fuck a duck.
Month, with temperatures over 100 degrees being very common in May through September. So not quite as bad as Yuma or Phoenix, but the relative humidity during the summer months is in the 60% range. Phoenix during the summer months, relative humidity is between 19 and 36%. So going back to Austin, during the summertime, the dew points are in the upper 60s, which is pretty humid. But I recently spent time in what might be the worst city on earth for the combination of heat and humidity. And that would be Abidjan, Ivory Coast. This place was awful to walk around. I couldn't believe how hot and humid it was. I was there in December where the average high temperature was only 86 degrees. In fact, there isn't a single month in Abidjan where the average high is over 90. For all 12 months of the year, the average relative humidity in Abidjan is over 80%.
What?
There were days when I was there where the high might have been 87 and the low was 81 with a dew point.
Oh, wait a minute.
80.
Wait, what one's... Why is it changed here? What one's Celsius? Record low? Oh, degrees. Oh, in brackets is Celsius. No, I was right. 14 degrees is the record low. Okay, man. Well, has he changed it for this one, though? Why has he put Fahrenheit in brackets now at the record low? Man, why are you confusing me for, brother?
And the low was 81 with a dew point of like 80. So if you ever want to feel the saying, it's not the heat, it's the humidity, check out Abidjan, Ivory Coast. So those are what I would consider the worst summers in the U.S., as well as possibly the worst summer on Earth. But let's take a look at some of the worst winters in the U.S.
Oh, look at that.
I'm going to start by talking about Grand Forks, North Dakota, and the northeastern portion of the state.
That's making me laugh because my snowstorm is a lot different.
Winters in the Great Plains are where you're going to have the absolute lowest temperatures. You have that really cold Arctic air coming down from Canada that's blowing across the plains, really high winds. So from eastern Montana to North Dakota to northern Minnesota is where you're going to get the absolute coldest temperatures in the overnight lows in the contiguous U.S. during winter. I'm choosing Grand Forks because it's not that far from Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is considered the coldest big city in North America. In Grand Forks, for the 3 months, December through February, the average high is 21 degrees or lower, with it only being 16 degrees in January. Also, during those same 3 months, December is the warmest, with the average low being 4 degrees. From the months November through March, you'll experience overnight lows in the negatives on the Fahrenheit scale multiple times. And even into March, the average low is 15 degrees.
God damn.
During the winters here, you might get a couple of months straight where there isn't a single temperature over freezing. You also have extremely high winds just howling across the plains during the winter. However, you don't really get that much snow. This isn't a very wet part of the country.
That's wild!
The snowiest month in Grand Forks is December, which only gets 12 inches of snow. January
only
10 inches. And in fact, there are only on average 48 inches of snow during the entire year.
Things to do in Grand Forks. Be cold.
So the northern Great Plains have some incredibly cold winters, but let's use that talk about snow as segue into somewhere else with some horrible winters. For this, I'm going to Houghton, Michigan, which sits on the north shore of the Upper Peninsula on the shores of Lake Superior. And so similar to how New Orleans...
Where's Milwaukee? Milwaukee and Chicago. Okay, New York's over here somewhere, right? Like way over there to the east. Ottawa, Minneapolis. Is this like... Okay, I know where I am, I think.
Isn't quite as hot as Yuma in the summer. Houghton isn't quite as cold as Grand Forks in the winter, but there's a lot more snow. In fact, Houghton is one of the snowiest towns in the entire... as hot as Yuma in the...
Man, look how beautiful this is. Look at this little place, brother. Is this like a little town or something? Aw, I love it.
Houghton isn't quite as cold as Grand Forks in the winter, but there's a lot more snow. In fact, Houghton is one of the snowiest towns in the entire contiguous U.S. Earlier, I had mentioned how Grand Forks gets about 48 inches of snow per year, but Houghton gets 69 inches of snow just in January and about 208 inches of snow for the entire year.
I'm sorry. 68 inches of snow in January is literally insane. Oh my God.
And in fact, in November, December, and January, it snows about half of the days of the month. But the reason why you get so much snow here is the lake.
Where are we, like here?
You look at snowfall maps for the Midwest, and there's always a lot more on the east side of the Great Lakes than the west side. And Houghton, being up here on the shore of Lake Superior, has this giant lake to the north and west. But of course, to get all that snow, it also has to be cold.
Yep.
However, it's pretty balmy in Houghton compared
to Grand photo,
Forks, with every month of the year, the average high being over 22 degrees and the average high being below freezing only 3 months of the year.
God damn.
Although temperatures below freezing are certainly going to be common there's not a single month in Houghton where the average low is below 9 degrees.
Who the hell built that?
So in January in Grand Forks, you might have a high temperature.
Who's building these? Fucking Leonardo da Vinci? Is he an artist? Please tell me he is, or I'll just make myself look really stupid. Alexa!
Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci was an Italian polymath of the High Renaissance who was active as a painter, draftsman, engineer, scientist, theorist, sculptor, and architect.
Okay, so I was right.
Of 16 and a low of -3, but in Houghton it might be a balmy 22 with a low of 10.
You know what?
But you'll be shoveling a ton of snow. Houghton is one of the snowiest smaller towns in the U.S., but the snowiest big cities.
Wait, hold on a minute. What is this? I know what it is. It's snow, but how is it a wall, I guess? Why? Does that mean over this wall, it's just that height for a long time? Or is it only this height because it was pushed off the side of the... Either way, it's nearly literally twice as high as this, man. Oh my goodness. That is literally insane.
In the U.S. or in upstate and western New York. Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo.
Where's this?
But whether you're in Houghton or in upstate or western New York, you're measuring snow in feet. So when you compare some of the worst Great Plains winters to some of the worst Great Lakes winters, it comes down to how much you can handle extreme cold versus shoveling a lot of snow.
That's scary looking,
man.
But
certainly when it comes to winters in the U.S., Alaska is going to be the worst. The town of Utqiagvik, which used to be referred to as Barrow, is on the north shore of the state, right along the Arctic Ocean. Here.
Hey, hold on, let me see there. What's all this here? Is this Canada as well? Canada's massive, man, isn't it? Holy shit.
The town of Utqiagvik, which used to be referred to as Barrow, is on the north shore of the state, right along the Arctic Ocean. Here, December through March, the average high is below 0 Fahrenheit, with the warmest month being December, where the average high is -.
Record low in this place, -49 degrees Celsius. Oh my. Yeah, that's not survivable, no. You can't survive that. You take one deep breath in, your lungs are going like ice. Surely. Look at this. From November through until April, obviously record. That's 7 months of temperatures of -40 and below.
0.4 Fahrenheit.
Oh my goodness.
And even in November and April, the average high is below 12 degrees. And also between November and April, the average overnight low is below 0 Fahrenheit. And in fact, December through March, the average overnight low is under -12 Fahrenheit.
That's almost too cold for snow, isn't it?
Cold, but it doesn't get that much snow. Only 46 inches of snow on average per year. So life here has to be rough.
Is this the place where it's -49? Where's all the ice?
With even in October and May, the average high temperature is below freezing. And not just that, you have no sunshine during the middle of the winter either. So there's basically no sun in December and January. So you put all those things together, and the winters in Utqiagvik might be the very worst in the entire US.
No sunshine at
I
all.
want to also mention one other type winter that is pretty horrible, although I don't think as horrible as the other ones. That's the winters in Seattle. For temperatures in Seattle during the winter, it's not that bad. It's going to be well over 40 degrees even in the coldest months. And even the average overnight lows in the middle of the winter are just a little below freezing, which isn't much different than here in Chattanooga.
What? Record low -18, mean daily minimum. God damn.
However, what can make the winters in Seattle...
I feel like that's like, America just has extreme. The weather is just so extreme. It can be either super high or super low. Where I live, it's just kind of, it's not warm or cold all the time. Like, we don't get extreme weather.
How long it might stay overcast and gray. So again, for Yuma, the percent possible sunshine during the daylight hours in the summer is over 90%. The percent possible sunshine for Seattle in the winter is under 26%.
Okay.
The humidity is really high during the winter, at least 78%, so it's just always damp. There are at least 14 inches of rain every month between October and April, and over 18 inches of rain November through January. So for many people, the winters in Seattle or perhaps the Canadian West Coast would be the worst possible winters because you see so little sunshine.
Hey, so you know what? See, before this ends and it gets to the end, I just want to go ahead and say thank you guys for the support on here. I'm just having a moment of appreciation. Don't really know why it's come on so random. Thank you. Do you want to like and subscribe? Can I just say that I did not plan to do a like and subscribe plug there whilst I was sending that appreciation post. It just kind of came to me because now it seems like I'm a bit of a scumbag because I said something nice and then I told you to like and subscribe. And now it looks like I planned to do that. No, like a sympathy. I didn't. Ah, shit. Just want to click play.
Go to Grand Forks in January. It might be -10 degrees, but the sun is shining brightly above you. So if you're someone that suffers from seasonal affective disorder, then Seattle might be a pretty awful place for you to live, and it gets even worse going up the Canadian West Coast. And the cloudiest town. So if you're someone that suffers from seasonal affective disorder, then...
Alexa, what is seasonal affective disorder?
Here's something I found on healthand.com. Seasonal affective disorder is a form of depression that is associated with the start of a particular time of year. The vast majority of cases are associated with the start of winter.
Yeah, I get that. When it gets dark at like fucking 3 p.m, man. And in my job, if you call this a job, this is what I do. I stream at nights on Twitch. Did you want to follow? But what I'm trying to get at, obviously in winter when it does get, you know, darker earlier, I usually stream later than normal UK kind of streamers because... a lot of my audience is US and Canada, so I would stream at a time that suits those guys better, so it's later for me, so I maybe start at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. UK, and I stream to like maybe 3 a.m. or 4 a.m, so then I have to get a good sleep, so I'm not getting up to like 11 a.m, 12 p.m, because, you know, I'm working into the morning, basically, so I gotta get good sleep or I'll die. But then whenever I get up, you know, and by the time I get ready, get lunch, and maybe go for a walk, I see daylight for like 1 hour. Yeah, it can suck, like, it can suck. But it is what it is!
Seattle might be a pretty awful place.
It is what it is.
It gets even worse going up the Canadian West Coast. And the cloudiest town in the overall U.S. is Cold Bay, Alaska.
Cloudiest?
Islands. There's an average of 304 overcast days per year.
Oh my god, that is depressing.
The Northwest Territories and Nunavut in Canada, or central and northern Siberia and Russia, the winters can get a lot worse than what we have in the contiguous U.S. But nonetheless, the northern Great Plains and lake effect side of the Great Lakes.
That's a crazy photo. Hey, guys, if you want to, you know, go and check out Geography King, his OG link will be in the description, or you can just go and, you know, pop his channel, a little subscription, a little like on the video. It helps. And, it, you know, I'm being honest, man. See, liking videos and subscribing and commenting and see those 3 things of engagement, they help creators more than you know. So if you're watching your favorite creator and you have hands or feet or a nose even, or maybe a tongue, do those 3 things, and you also have 1 year of good luck. Honestly, my personal opinion on that is crazy. Now, I got a snowstorm to show you. Now, can I just go ahead and say, coming off a video where we look at extreme weather in the US, you're going to laugh what I'm about to show you, because I didn't genuinely, this was labeled as a snowstorm in the US, or in the UK recently here, and there was a warning of food shortage. Like, I don't know whether that's the government using that as an excuse so they can put prices up and shit, and a shortage of oil. Like, I don't know. I don't understand. I feel like it's just the government getting their hooks in and trying to put prices up and shit when they just kind of, you know, fear-monger you into believing that sort of bollocks. But anyway, this was our snowstorm. Yeah, that was it. Like, I'm not even joking. You see this? This is about as heavy and is about as extreme as our snow gets. Doesn't even lie, man. So it literally falls and then melts, and that's what you get. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's the type of snowstorms that we get here in Northern Ireland. I know you're thinking, Adam, that's not a storm. I know it's not, but that's what our news labeled this as. And this, because of this is what our government says is an emergency. And, you know, you stock up. We got shortages of oil, shortages of food. You know what I mean? Thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate your time. I really bloody do. You're legends! Alright! Goodbye!